Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Under the Truck podcast, the only podcast that you need a Game Shark to access. My name is Austin.
And my name is Max. And this is not just the first episode and the first time we've ever done this between yesterday and today, but it's also the first time that we've started this in the last 5 minutes.
Yes, I don't know what could possibly have...
Just difficulties. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with.
So, and this is my first time telling this joke. I don't know if you're aware of this, because Austin certainly isn't.
I don't know.
This is a Pokemon podcast.
It's a Pokemon podcast. I didn't know that, man.
Okay, this is getting way too obnoxious for the first episode.
Really is. So, welcome to the Under the Truck podcast, everybody.
We are a couple of old-timer skeleton men who have been playing Pokemon since the first generation of games, way back in the 1990s.
Yeah, like 97? Good lord.
So, anyway, the big thing is that, basically, we were talking about doing something special for Pokemon's 20th anniversary.
Woo, 20 years!
Yeah, man, it's like old enough to vote, but not old enough to drink. So Pikachu's got to stay off the vodka shots just a little longer. But
good joke.
Oh god, I'm just imagining Russian Pikachu now. Anyway,
Pikachu.
Put that in Pokken instead of Pikachu Libre.
Just a Dolph Lundgren Pikachu.
Cossack Chew.
I must break you.
He just starts doing the Russian dance. Anyway, so we were talking about doing something, and then it just kind of turned to, you want to start a podcast that will not just do over and over and literally do over, because we had some difficulties with what we recorded and have to redo the first episode.
We were supposed to give the impression that we didn't record this once before.
You know, I think we kind of blew that in the first minute or so.
We kind of blew that.
Yeah, we. So
we.
Yeah. What? So I don't know what's going on. So anyway, it's just let's just make a whole podcast. So that's what we are. And Austin, tell them about the name.
So the Under the Truck, for those of you who are not from the original generation of Pokemon maniacs,
aka inferiors.
Oh yeah, no. There was a rumor that went around that was like nationwide that if on the SSN, if on the dock of the SSN, if you didn't go on the boat, there was a truck off to the right. And if you used strength on that truck, you would find a Mew under the truck. And it was garbagey lies.
We're garbagey people.
So, it was a garbage truck.
And this is a garbage podcast.
There we go.
So
it's all connected.
Copacetic. Yeah. So anyway, now...
Hashtag it's all connected. Hashtag stay woke.
So, thank you, Austin, for making this podcast timeless.
You're welcome.
We really are rehashing jokes from yesterday now. So, anyway, okay, so, first topic. Austin.
Yeah, Max.
How were you introduced to Pokemon?
All right, so, thinking back on it,
and it's really lucky that I have a terrible memory, because I don't remember anything Austin said, so this will all be like fresh and new to me.
So, Christmas, I think of 97. I'm pretty sure it was 1997. I got a Game Boy Pocket, a yellow Game Boy Pocket, and a copy of Pokemon Blue, which wasn't the first game I ever played, but it was the first game that I owned that I could say was mine, that I didn't have to share with my dad. And that, really just like that I loved and played over and over and over again. And then I got Pokemon Red and played that one several times, and even more than Blue, and then Yellow, and then the rest is just a big old history.
Oh, neat. I was introduced to Pokemon when I was 5, so this was like
You were A5.
or was I?
You were A5. You said you
I think I was,
were
or
A5.
maybe not. I don't know. I'm looking up like things on the internet
And
now.
after
Maybe
you
my
played Pokemon, were
memories.
you a solid 10?
Stop! No. That's where you were going with this?
Yes.
You're terrible.
I
You're
was
horrible. You're a monstrosity. I don't want to be your friend anymore. And you smell. So
Well, you're right about at least one of those things.
yeah, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Oh!
Oh,
Well, thanks for listening to the podcast.
dude, it's been a great run, everybody. It's been a great 5-minute run.
It's really closer to. It's exactly 6 minutes, and now it's more than that. No, so I had to be 5. Although clearly some of my memories are jumbled up now. And my mom like had an old friend of hers visiting, and that old friend brought some kids over, and like I don't remember these kids or their names or their faces or even particularly liking them, but I do remember they had Game Boys and they had Pokemon, and I'd like watch them play, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then clearly like my timeline's messed up now because I guess I did not find out about the TV show for a while until after I already had the games. But yeah, then on my 6th birthday, I got a purple Game Boy Color and a copy of Pokemon Red version, and I've been
Which is the superior version, mind you.
and I've been Super Nerd Max ever since.
Oh, so you've been Super Nerd Max. What trainer class would I be?
Last
How did you know?
because we're like brothers. I don't know.
Only closer.
I was trying not to go there,
You
not to
started
steal
it.
jokes. No, I said a thing. You did bad.
I
Austin.
just continued. It.
How dare you? So yeah, that was it. So favorite memory from Gen 1.
My favorite memory from Gen 1 is the speech that Professor Oak gives you at the beginning of the game. Because that
Right, I do remember this part.
it sets the tone for the entire game. And when I was younger, like, games didn't, as far as the games that I had played, I had never played an RPG before, and I'd never played a game where it like made you enter in your name. And I was like, "Whoa, he's talking to me. He's actually like asking me like who I am and stuff. This is cool. This game is really awesome." And then it was just so enchanting to me, especially the last bit where he says that a world of dreams and adventures await you. And right, especially has stuck with me all these years, so that when when I started up the game again recently, I saw that line, almost teared up. I didn't, but I almost did.
Yes, you
And and
Liar.
then when I played
No,
Pokemon X and Y and the credits, that song plays, there's a part in there where it says a world of hopes and dreams, which is close to dreams and adventures, but it was just close enough that I actually did just start just
Yeah. So, Austin, let me ask you some questions
Yeah.
about that. Was it a whole new world of adventure?
Yes, it was a new fantastic point of view as well. Told me no or where to go, which is why I got lost quite a bit playing the game.
Was it a whole new place with a brand new attitude?
Yeah, but I still had to catch them all.
Cool. Wrong generation. So here's like a fair warning. If we do more episodes and you choose to listen to them, there will be more of these moments that are dumb and funny only to us.
Probably not to anybody else.
We will not apologize for it.
We don't really care.
That's the thing. We will never say sorry.
We're unapologetic in here.
Nah. So, my favorite Gen 1 memory. Because thinking back, like I'm thinking of like my exposure to the Pokemon anime and stuff, and So I guess I didn't see it before I got the games because I'm looking on like Wikipedia right now, and it didn't air until like exactly 4 weeks after I got Red version in
Huh.
America. But it was the first episode of the anime I saw, Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. Because by that point, I guess like Charizard was already basically my favorite just because it was on the box of Pokemon Red version, and I just love the Ken Sugimori art, and like I love it so much that even though I just got like a new 3DS, I pre-ordered like the new Red and Blue bundle 3DS because I'm just not like I'm a sucker. So
Anything with
so
Ken Sugimori,
anyway,
gotta have it.
I can you blame me? So anyway, so the first episode I saw it was Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon, and that was like a thing that like they used to insist on, you know, and then just kind of drop was when they would pronounce the freaking accent mark Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they dropped that eventually. Thank God. It's just awkward to say for an
yeah.
English
Because
speaker.
I mean, it is Pokemon, but it isn't Pokemon. It's Pokemon.
Yeah, like if I'm like affecting a Japanese accent, I can do like oh Pokemon, but like yeah. Anyway, so Charmeleon evolves into Charizard, which is already like wow, and Ash is like Charmeleon. Like keep in mind, I had not been watching the anime, so I wasn't like familiar with the characters. So I get like that Ash's Charmeleon doesn't like him. And Ash is like Charmeleon evolved to save me. He really does care. And I'm like, oh, he does care because this is my first time seeing it, and I didn't know. So then Charmeleon's just like Charizard just sets Ash on fire, and it's like, no, he just wanted to fight a dinosaur. I'm like, that is so much better.
It's the most metal thing ever.
And that for me is kind of like the moment like permanently cemented Charizard in my head as the best. And here we are, you know, year 20.
He's still your favorite.
I still think that. And a lot of people do, because, you know, like Charizard is always like number one in the polls for most popular Pokemon. Like it's always like comes down really close between like Charizard, Mewtwo, and kind of Blastoise.
Yeah, and Pikachu sometimes, but
well, I mean, it depends on like the audience, but among like the older crowd, like it's those three. All right, so that was
so
a lot of
Charizard's
babble.
your favorite Pokemon?
Yeah,
I sometimes will like say what my favorite Pokemon is, and then I'll change it.
I remember for a while it was
Flygon.
Flygon.
I still like Flygon, but he's not. Yeah.
Then we made the Dragonite video, and you're like,
I'm pretty sure Dragonite's my favorite.
Dragonite is making you popular. And then Dragonite stopped making you popular.
Well, it wasn't that it stopped making it. It wasn't that it didn't make me popular. Is that I was like so tired of people coming up to me with it. Like at Anime Expo, I had like a bunch of people who were just like, "Yeah, Dragonite, woo!" And I'm just like, "Yeah, it was a thing. That was a." Okay, can you leave me alone, please?
We tried to capitalize on that. It did not go well, and I'm kind of glad we
Yeah,
failed.
me too.
So, because that's not the thing you want to be known for. Anyway, enough of our sordid past. Now it's time for a happy past. What was it like for you growing up with Pokemon, like beyond Gen 1? Because you have 20 years. Like, what was your like roughly 20 years like, aside from, you know, like life and relationships and people and education and stuff?
That was a lot of qualifiers.
Pokemon, the important
that was a lot of qualifiers.
The important thing, Pokemon. What has your life with it been like?
Well, I was obsessed with the games. I was obsessed with the anime when I was a lot younger. If the anime, like, if I like flip on the TV and the anime is on, I will watch it. When I do watch TV.
I won't. The anime is just not good. Let's face it.
It's all right, actually. I mean,
we'll do an episode.
Yeah, we'll do an episode.
We'll have a debate, probably.
Yeah. But like you know, if especially like older episodes of the anime, I'll definitely watch it. New episodes, I'll you know, I'll watch it if it's on. But if it's like an older episode, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down and enjoy this. But like when I was a lot younger, Pokemon was banned at my elementary school because I was at a Christian school. Everyone's like, Pokemon was a sign of the devil and was corrupting our youth, when it was just a bunch of like, you know, animals attacking each other. And
like I get the logic of like Pikachu as one of Satan's minions because like it's deceptively cute,
and
but also I just feel like Satan wouldn't make Pikachu.
Yeah.
Like he'd just be like, should I? Like he'd definitely have the idea and just be like, no, that's too much, and then just make like a very bosom woman instead.
A very bosom woman. Let's
Yes.
take that Vivav 2016.
Don't tell them my internet name. Gee willikers, that's unsafe. Tell them. Don't it's fine that they know my real name, Max Dweck, but don't tell them I'm Vivav. No.
Oh no, it's such a horrible thing that you're a Vivav and I'm Amtrak.
Anyway, so
but we would.
So you had to hide from Jesus while trading poker.
Yeah, well, because like back then I believed in God. But I was just, but even
getting political.
But even I was just kind of like, I don't think Pokemon's Satan-y. I think Pokemon is. And so even I knew that it was just, garbage. But like
I remember like Saudi Arabia Pokemon just got like banned from the country because it was like distracting kids from prayer or whatever.
Something, yeah.
Like at the time.
But we would have, we would sneak Pokemon in. We would, have secret, card battles in places.
You'd cut holes in your Bible and put the Game Boy in it.
We're going all mafia on this now.
It's like Austin, why do you keep tapping the page of your Bible? I'm trying to get a feel for the words of Jesus.
I want to get behind John 3:16.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
But like we weren't allowed to have Pokemon T-shirts. We weren't allowed to have Pokemon lunchboxes. It was that bad. And then I transferred to another school, and everyone liked Pokemon, and it wasn't as much of a taboo, and it was just so I don't know like the right word for it. It was very liberating to not have to hide my love for something from the authority. And then Generation 2 came along, and I went freaking ballistic because I was like, whoa, there's more freaking Pokemon? Whoa! And there was a lot of speculation, like what was going to happen. Like we knew Meryl and we knew Snubble. We didn't know what Meryl was called. We didn't know what Snubble was called.
You mean Peekaboo?
Peekaboo. We'll talk about Peekaboo later.
Probably another episode.
Oh, we can talk about it at this one at some point. We'll talk about the lies of Pokemon.
Well, I know because we mentioned yesterday, but we don't have to do everything we did.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I know, but it's still an interesting conversation. Well,
otherwise we'd have to go crash a whole bus full of orphans again, and I don't know where I'm going to find another this time of day.
That's true. Yeah, we'll do an episode about the lies of Pokemon.
Just run them into the garbage compactor like that old commercial.
That garbage compactor commercial still gives me nightmares.
So
Got him.
Yeah, that guy is like the underrated comedian of the last century.
Seriously, what happened to the bus driver?
Yeah.
But I would read, I'd read Pojo magazine. I would read Pojo magazine, and they would have, bad artist renderings of, the one of the guys behind Pojo, I guess saw an early release of a bunch of what the Pokemon looked like, but he couldn't take pictures. So he just did a really bad, this is kind of what they looked like. And it was just whoa, is this what the Pokemon looked like? And it looked nothing like them. You look at
why does Shuckle look like a plumbus?
Yeah, exactly. Is that Ladybug? His hands are the size of just his whole body. He looks like Sungbad.
Oh.
And then, but yeah, Generation 2.
Dear Ladybug, how do you type with boxing gloves on?
Well, Ladybug. I'm sorry, that was stupid.
Yeah.
But
that was the right kind of stupid.
But yeah, Generation 2, when it came out, that game absolutely blew my mind, because not only was there a a new place with
A
a
whole
brand new
new world of
attitude,
adventure.
and a
Yeah.
bunch of new Pokemon. There were you could got to go back to fight all those guys over again, but they were even stronger. And then after that, you got to fight yourself, which was still just like
No.
that is still one of my favorite boss fights of all time, just because of how nostalgic it is and how like
I have climbed to the top of the
yeah, and
mountain, and I gaze upon
it was such an
myself,
emotional moment for
and
me.
I challenge me, and the internal conflict for the future of my true being begins. That's what you were thinking when you were like 7, right?
Generation 3 came along. It was good.
Oh, just ignore
Yeah.
me. Thanks, Alex.
I'm trying to speed it
Have to
along
bleep
so that you
that.
can talk about your life story. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about you. Have you eaten today?
Oh no, I'll just sit here in the dark thinking about my life.
Okay, fine, go.
But Generation 3, I was about that time I was like really excited for the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. And when I played that one, um I I still loved it. I didn't like it nearly as much as Generation 2, but I was still way through. I loved every single minute of it. And at that point, a bunch of my friends were
Mhm.
starting to quote unquote grow out of Pokemon, which I don't understand the concept of growing out of something. Especially, something that, I don't know how you grow out of something that's not a pair of clothes.
I think, I growing out of something basically happens in 2 ways, and there's the right way and the wrong way. The right way is just when you on your own, like, genuinely mature and something's like not interesting to you anymore. Like for me, a lot of online reviewers are like that. Like I can't watch angry video game nerd
oh yeah,
videos
same.
anymore. It just doesn't do anything for me now. And then
I won't
there's
deny
like
that he's
growing
funny,
out,
but yeah, I just yeah.
and like I'm not saying that anyone has to grow out of like any particular thing. Like if you're like 30 and still like angry video game nerd, good for you,
Yeah.
man. But what I'm saying like that's the right way to grow out of something is just like it kind of loses its appeal to you as you like mature and kind of become more who you are and learn stuff or
And the
whatever.
wrong way to do
And
it
the
is
wrong
putting
way to
down
grow out
people
of
who
something
quote
is
unquote haven't grown out of it.
no, it's not that. The wrong way to grow out of something is doing it not because you feel like you should, but because someone else is telling you that you
Yeah,
should.
which yeah.
And someone saying, "Oh, that's for children. That's immature. Someone of your age should not enjoy that. Here's the proper thing to enjoy." And I'm like, you sound so much like James. Why do you hate Pokemon? But
You sound like your face is sniffing your butt. That's what
what?
it smells. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like there's a bunch of butts. Anyway, um,
I don't understand you.
but
I'm curling up in a blanket now because I'm scared and also cold.
but I'm gonna fast forward a bit. Yeah, like we're now 6 generations in, and every game has just I've played all of them. Everyone for me has been better than the last. I haven't had that same kind of like the wonder that I had from the first time, but everyone for me has like they've always built upon the last one in some way, and they've always done something to keep my interest, even if it's just the story. The Pokemon designs don't always catch my attention. Like Generation 5, there were like some I'm just like, okay, really? Some
Do you mean Garbodor?
well, yeah, Gardor, Trubbish, Clank, Clank, and Clink, Clank, especially Clank, Clank, and Clank.
Whoa.
But like there were still some that I was like, oh, these are still cool, and I really liked the story of Generation 5. And Generation 6 I
Yeah.
just adore. I think it's the most fun that I've had with it probably since the Generation 2 remakes. And Alpha Sapphire might be tied for my favorite game in the series with Crystal, but we'll see.
All right. So my experiences now. So so past Generation 1, Generation 2 comes along. that was like the greatest thing to ever happen in my life. Um, just like all the friends I made after that, including you, like nothing compares. So yeah, you're worth less to me than Entei, but
I'm so happy for
you. Good. Anyway, so no, Generation 2, like I was just, super into it. And I remember, when I was in like, for me, it was like in third grade that all the other kids kind of stopped liking Pokemon, which I felt was like inordinately
Yeah.
early. But I still had like one or two friends who played it. And then I remember that, Generation 2 was like the biggest, like in the good sense of the word, upset in the world for me at the time, just because like the concept of like Pokemon being expanded on and 100 new mons and a whole new like bunch of cities to visit, and then you could also go to the old cities and all the old gym leaders and stuff. That was just mind blowing to me that like Pokemon could become twice as big and just all this new stuff. Night mode had to be for me like the most amazing
That was
concept at
pretty
the
cool.
time. Well, like no, because here's the thing, like for me, Pokemon Silver version especially like carries this kind of serenity because you watch like the opening graphics and everything, and then you have that start screen with like Lugia flying over the ocean in the night.
I thought he was like on the
And
ocean floor.
or it might have been maybe it was.
Yeah, I
but at
thought
the
he was like
time, I
swimming through
thought,
the ocean floor is what I always thought.
well, at the time, I thought that Lugia was like flying through the night, and for me, that was like the most amazing visual that I had ever seen in a video game.
Oh yeah.
And just like there was this real sense of like adventure and mystery, and okay, Max, it's a whole new generation, and just everything is new again, and let's go out and like explore it and see what there is. And I also remember like the first time that I rode like the magnet train was at night. And, like here's like the biggest impact that Pokemon Silver had on me. Pokemon Silver like made me nocturnal just
Oh
because
yeah.
it was cooler to play the game at night because everything looked cooler at night. I thought the opening screen was at night. I think it might be. I'll have to like take a look at it again. Like I rode the Magnet train at night, and even though it's like nothing, it was like so cool to have the lights of the train in a passing forest at night.
It was very pretty.
And yeah, and it's like because at the time it wasn't just when you're a kid you look at the graphics and kind of fill in the blanks in your head.
Oh yeah.
I feel like so it just creates like this real like romantic adventure vision thing in your head. I nailed that so eloquently.
I was there every moment, hanging at the end of every word.
So it's just weeping onto the page. So
tear stains.
Here come all of the literary medals. So
Pulitzer.
Yeah. A Nobel Prize. Why, thank you.
That's not a literary prize.
I think there might be a Nobel Prize for literature. I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter. They're talking Pokemon.
The point is, and like you could get like who and I remember like I have never in any of the Pokemon games like completely filled the Pokedex. Actually, like I get really close, and then there's like one or two event Pokemon, and there's always like one or two like Let's Come ones, and just like by the time I've almost got into it, I'm like pretty happy with myself already.
Oh yeah.
Like no, I don't think that's true. I think like Gen 3, I think I did completely fill it except for like Celebi.
I only did
no.
one.
I definitely traded for Celebi at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. So Gen 3, I did complete, but like completing it for me has always been more about like the journey than the destination, which is why I don't like. Like if I haven't gotten like 90% complete like within the first few weeks of release, I'm just not going to.
Oh yeah.
Especially with like more recent games. But yeah, so I remember But I remember like one of the last Pokemon I had to get was like Mischievous, and like you had to like hunt that one down at night on Mount Silver, and just like Pokemon Silver made nighttime go from that thing where I'm just sleeping and all the cartoons have stopped airing to like the coolest time to be alive. So that's like a really big thing for me.
I think for kids now, that's kind of like what Animal Crossing's done.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. Animal Crossing is. I can't get into Animal Crossing long term. Like I got one of the games, I played for a few weeks, and then I'm just like, there's no end goal here.
Oh yeah.
Which I know is the appeal for some people, but like I can only tend to these blithering moron elephants and their needy, petty desires for so long.
It held my interest for.
Why are all the cool residents leaving my town, but you're still here?
What's with these gyroids everywhere?
Oh yeah, but so I remember then it's like but because of that, Gen 2 made such a huge impact on me, like as a person and as like an expansion of Pokemon, and then like nothing after that ever quite had the same impact. Like, it was always a similar magic, but never the same impact. Like Gen 3, you saw some really good graphical upgrades, and the stories started getting deeper, which I thought was really cool. Gen 4, was like I said to you the last time we tried this, the game I've logged the most hours into. Like I got up to 1,000 hours.
Oh
on
yeah,
Gen 4,
you said you really liked
Diamond. I was just playing it like all day, every day, one summer.
Oh yeah.
Gen 5 blew me away with some of the 3D environments, especially like Sky Arrow Bridge, just because because like I'd played like the GameCube games and stuff, so it's not like I'd never seen 3D graphics in a Pokemon game.
But being able to do them handheld like that?
Yeah, on like the handheld, on one of like the real true main series games, like it was just it's just like, oh man, this is so beautiful.
This is the future. The future is now.
Yes, we are all headed towards the future, and we never stop going there.
Soon the singularity will happen, and it'll all be worthless.
Soon the singularity will happen, and the Pokemon will be real.
Wrong singularity, but all right.
No, the singularity will happen. The machines will gain sentience, and Porygons will become real.
Oh, and then we can have people pointing guns at the heads of 10-year-olds. Oh wait, that was the Dratini one. Never mind.
Also, I feel that's like a very depressing commentary on modern America. But so Pokemon.
Moving on.
I might want to cut that out, but also kind of don't. So, and then like Gen 6,
don't cut it
finally
out. They
got
should know.
Full 3D. Yeah, well, they should know what terrible people we are. And then by the time we got to Gen 6, like it's interesting to see how the games have really refined over time. So, like, I know we were talking about this also before. My favorite improvement is that now when your health's in the red, it's no longer.
Oh yeah, it just goes and then it's done.
Yeah. Like the tense music, which was a little annoying, but nowhere near as annoying. And now it's just one warning. That's all you need.
Yep.
And so I would say, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are now like comparably across everything the most polished of the games, but Silver version will always be my favorite.
Yeah, for me it's I'd say definitely Crystal and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Mm-hmm. Until
specifically
Z
Alpha
comes
Sapphire,
out, of course, if it comes out.
If I don't think we need a Z.
But Zygarde anyway.
Yeah, but Zygarde.
So yeah, now moving on. Austin.
Yeah.
It's time to get deep.
Okay.
What does Pokemon mean to you?
All right. Well, Pokemon, to me, it basically. How did I put it yesterday?
I don't remember.
I had like a really nice, like beautiful thing planned out, and I don't remember a single word of it, so I'm gonna try and wing it. It means exactly what Professor Oak says at the beginning of that.
Dreams and adventures.
Yeah, it really is. It's it's a world that I dream about. I dream about Pokemon. It's still wonderful. It provided me with wonder when I was younger, and when I'm still now. It captures my interest every single time. It is an adventure, and I think that is kind of reflective of life in general. Life is a dream. Life is an adventure. Go out and have some fun, but also play Pokemon.
Because Pokemon is better than life.
If we're gonna be honest,
Yeah, I mean, life is taxes.
music is better than words, and Pokemon's better than life.
Pokemon, you find like gold nuggets on the ground. Like, come on.
Right?
Yeah.
You're a 10-year-old child, and you have like $1 million in the bank.
Like, even if you like equate that to yen, that's still pretty rich for a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So, for me, what Pokemon means to me, is just there are like two big franchises in my life, that like have been around almost, well, for Pokemon obviously not, but like the other one that as long as I can remember is DC Comics. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
like there are two franchises that for me are like the biggest things. Like DC Comics is one of them. And the thing that's kind of cool about DC is like as I've grown older, I've discovered, like they got and like all the big superhero comic stuff does this like different material for different ages and like varying levels of maturity. Like when I was a kid, Batman was fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger, making ice puns, and now Batman is like dying underground in a cave while Joker has like immortality serum named after like a Greek figure in his spine.
Yeah.
And the art is really gritty. So obviously, like that grows and changes. And now like BVS is coming out later this year, and that's in like 2 months, and that's awesome, and I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
But like when I was a kid, Batman did not say, "Do you bleed?" So like that.
He didn't say that. That Punk is death.
He was already
the Rage
saying
of a
worse
Beast
things
either.
than that in the comics, but I had not read those comics yet.
Yeah.
But, like comparably, like Frank Miller's Batman is like, boy, howdy do I love breaking some bones. but Pokemon, Pokemon has grown slightly and changed, but it's still like at its core stays the same, and it's like accessible for everybody.
It's a constant.
Yeah, and like Pokemon is the big thing I get with Pokemon is that for me it's kind of like because I was so into it when I was a kid, and it was like the biggest thing in the world for me, and like my number one obsession for so many years. And
Oh, yeah.
it got to a point where it's just like whenever I play a Pokemon game, there's definitely like a comfort blanket feeling to it.
Oh, of course.
And for me, Pokemon and its endurance and its inclusivity and just how many generations it transcends, and the fact that it always keeps, its core elements and its openness. Pokemon is something that, in a world that's constantly telling you you can't go home again, Pokemon is an invitation to go home again. So that's what it means to me.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, you are, wimp.
Yeah, I remember you saying that yesterday about it's a thing that invites you home again, and that really spoke to me because it's very true. Like, whenever I hear the Pallet Town theme, especially Baxton Burks' palette version of the Pallet Town theme, which if you haven't heard that, please. It really moves me, and that song itself makes me think, of home, and gets me, emotional, and reminds me that, I always have a home to go to, even if it's, just, um, with my significant other, whether it does, if even if there's like not a roof over my head, it reminds me, that there's always a home to go back to.
Like I remember in a Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you get like the little gadget that instead of the reorchestrated music, like plays the original like chiptune score.
Oh, yeah.
And once I got that, it's just like the biggest nostalgic rush I've ever had. And I'm really excited for the nostalgic rush I'm going to get when I get that new 3DS with Red and Blue version installed. And like that's going to be like even more nostalgic than when Fire Red came out. So, speaking of things about to happen, so here we are. Pokemon, 20 years old, a lot of stuff happening in year 20. What are you most excited for?
I am most certainly.
And I remember your answer, and I'm not going to be like a jerk and contest it this time.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very excited for Pokemon Go. And...
That's a terrible answer.
and here's why. It's, for one thing, I feel like this is kind of like something that Pokemon's led to. It's been gradually becoming a more social experience. I don't.
So you feel like Pokemon Go is kind of the natural evolution of the franchise?
I don't think. It's not exactly
evolution.
Well, yeah, that's not exactly how I'd phrase it. I still think that we're still gonna get story-based Pokemon games. I still think we're gonna get
I hope so.
Yeah, well, obviously we're still gonna get games like X, Y, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. We're still gonna get those. I'm not worried about that. But it is Pokemon Go. It feels like the social. This is the natural evolution of the social aspect of Pokemon, because Pokemon has always been a thing where you trade with your friends, and then it turned into you trade with your friends wirelessly. You can be more than 2 feet apart, and now and then it turned into
more than 2 feet apart. Isn't that just an astounding development for us?
For Pokemon, it is. And then it turned into you could trade with people online, and you could battle with people online, and then you could trade with your friends online. It didn't just have to be random people. And you can take your Pokemon with you wherever you go, capture them in places like wherever you go, you'll find new Pokemon. It encourages people to actually go out and not just trade Pokemon from the comfort of their own home. It encourages people to go out, have the adventures that.
But at the same part, you wander into the bad part of town looking for a Shinx, and you get shanked.
You get shanked.
I was already kind of making a pun. Come on.
But it encourages people to go out and have those dreams and adventures that they were talking about ages ago with the first generation. And I'm very happy that is a thing that they're encouraging. And I don't, we don't know a whole lot about Pokemon Go yet, but that announcement trailer and the announcements that they have made about it, every single thing that they've made about it has made me really excited. A Pokemon I know can handle mobile well because they handle Pokemon Shuffle so well. Most mobile games, when they're free to play, are like they shove down your throat. You need to pay for this. You need to pay for something. You gotta do something or you can't play. With Pokemon Go. I mean, Pokemon Shuffle, really the only thing that it's like, a minor inconvenience is when you run out of stamina, and then, you wait half an hour, and again, it encourages you to put down the game so you're not playing all day. And I think that, that's a way to handle it, and I've never once felt pressured into, spending a single cent on Pokemon Shuffle. Would I if I wanted to? Yes, but there's never been a point where I've felt like, okay, this is getting to the point where it's annoying. They want me to pay. Okay. They say at the beginning of every time you load up the game, you don't have to pay anything to play this game. Every experience that paid free people can get as well through natural play. And so I completely trust Game Freak and the other people who are working on this with Pokemon Go.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
My big thing with Pokemon Go, like,
it all comes down to
like,
that sounds cool.
Well, I mean, it does, but it's just like I told you.
Yeah.
Like, Pokemon Go, they announced it. I was really excited for 5 minutes, and then my brain went, "Let's make an extensive list of everything that could go horrible with this." So, like,
I think that's a very distinct difference in our personalities.
Well, it's not just that, because I'm just like thinking about because for me it was less, Pokemon Go is going to be terrible, and more like I feel like people are expecting Pokemon Go to be more than it actually will. But there's really just so little info on it that I'm not ready to make any kind of judgment on it. Like yesterday they announced a new Dragon Ball Z game for the 3DS, like Dragon Ball Fusion. And someone asked me, like, what do you think of this? And I looked at the article and I'm like, we know two things. I am withholding judgment. But
Yeah.
so that's like my big thing for Pokemon Go is like I just don't know enough yet. What I do know,
You said you weren't gonna on my
on.
Pokemon Go thing.
I'm not pooping on your ideas. I'm just saying, like, I'm not like super hyped.
But yeah,
for
I
it.
know.
What I am super hyped for is Pokken, because Pokken is like people have wanted like a real like one-to-one, really controlling everything the Pokemon does fighting game for a long time. And obviously with Pokken, there's inevitably going to be some salt.
Oh, of
because
course.
not everyone's favorite mon can be in it.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite mon is in it. You know, one of the first ones announced. Like I think the first two announced were like Lucario and Machamp, and they announced like Charizard and Pikachu like very shortly after.
Yeah.
And like there are some weird choices. Like I don't think I would have put Brazen in. I would not have put Weavile in.
I wouldn't have made Dragonite a freaking assist trophy.
Well, yeah, assist Pokemon. But I would not have put Chandelure in just because I would not have thought to. And Chandelure is one of my favorites. So that's in there, and I am elated. So I'm really excited now, like with the inclusion of Chandelure, to see, okay, who's next? What curveball are you gonna throw me next? Like, are you gonna put in like I don't even know. Like, are you gonna put in Klefki? Because I would have doubted you before, but now I feel like
now anything's on the table.
That could be a little interesting. Yeah, like what I mean, you know, the big one I want is Hawlucha. But aside from Hawlucha, I would like a flying type that actually is just like flying a little above the ground the whole time. Like how cool would it be if like Hydreigon were in there?
Oh yeah,
that would be amazing. Like Hydreigon just looming over Pikachu.
So you pronounce it Hydreigon?
Yes.
Okay, I've always pronounced it
Heinz
Hydreigon.
Well, it's German numbers. It's Eins, zwei, drei.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So really it should be Hydreigon, but I say Dre because I'm American and we don't do foreign right.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Well, no, it's Dino, Dine, one head. Like I don't. Oh yeah, like Zweilos or whatever the second one is called, and then Hydreigon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about Pokemon pronunciation sometime.
We will.
Yeah.
Can we also talk about how Gyarados' original English name was going to be Skullkraken, and they changed it, and that was a terrible idea because what the heck is a Gyarados?
Excuse me, Bakagaijin, it's Gyarados.
Oh, you're
Gyarados.
Why you want it? So yeah. But yeah, so just Pokken. It's you know, like ever since they first announced it, I've been like the Fates in Hercules. It's like indoor plumbing. It's gonna be big.
That's not the Fates line I would have thought. But all right.
What Fates line did you think?
I don't know. I'm not the indoor.
Any of them.
No, you're right. I don't.
What did you think I was going to be terrible? The game and my Fates line was, "We can't cut the string."
Well, that's just not the Hercules line I would have thought you would have gone with in general.
It's a good line.
I thought you were gonna go with like, and that's the gospel truth.
It is, Austin.
It is.
It really is.
It is the gospel truth.
Pikachu is basically Jesus.
I have played Pokken. I played it at the Round 1 bowling alley in it's Round 1 bowling and arcade in
I'm really hoping they have an imported machine at MagFest.
Oh yeah, I hope so too.
Well, you're not going. I am.
I know, but that'd be cool for you to play because I want you to play it.
Me. It's all about me.
But I couldn't understand the menu or anything because it was in Japanese. But I eventually figured out how to play it. And they had a kind of a limited roster going, but that is because it was the tests. They were like testing it out in different locations. Suicune honestly was like my champ right there. I had a lot of fun with Suicune. Gardevoir was also really fun. I didn't get to play with a whole lot of them before I decided I don't want to
Hog
take
the
up like a
machine.
line. I don't want to hog the machine. There was, by the time I was playing as Gardevoir, there was a couple people behind me, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to, I want other people to play too. But I will say you will have a blast. It's a lot of fun, and I hope that everybody else
told you
too.
my cousin Allegra, she writes for Polygon.
Oh yeah,
Allegra Frank, and she played Pokemon. Like, she's played it a lot and covered it extensively, like the machine they have at Dave & Buster's in New York.
Oh yeah.
And whenever we talk about it, she tells me like Blaziken is so OP.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking forward to, like, I kind of want to learn like the perfect ways to fight Blaziken, just so I can take down anybody who gets cocky.
I don't think I ever fought with or fought against Blaziken. I don't think
it probably wasn't in the earlier build that you played.
It was. I just don't think I ever played against him.
Oh, so you just inferior play experience.
Or I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one Pokemon that I kind of hope that they add, because they've already added one of my favorites, Suicune.
Oh, so you're the guy who likes Suicune?
Yeah, I am the guy. I am like the only guy that likes Suicune. He's got a cool design.
Like, I don't understand like why Suicune achieved like Demi mascot status.
It's
like,
because
no one seems to like him that
it's
much.
because of Pokemon Crystal,
I guess, but like he's just on the box.
Yeah, well,
like,
he's
like,
you can also catch him.
Suicune's pop. I always feel like Suicune, like, Nintendo kind of forced popularity for him,
I guess.
Anyway,
but the other one I'm looking forward to, well, I mean, not looking forward to, but I'm hoping that they put in, is Deoxys.
Deoxys would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I think that just
because you're a space cadet.
Yeah, well, yeah, and having Deoxys fight Mewtwo, that'd be pretty cool. A couple of psychic monsters going at each other.
Yeah, I'm really like, because the game has amiibo support in the form of cards.
Oh, it has.
I'm hoping my Charizard amiibo does something.
And I have my Mewtwo amiibo, so I hope that that does.
Well, no, because the game, if you buy like the first run of it, it comes with a card that lets you like unlock the boss Shadow Mewtwo as like a playable character immediately.
Oh snap!
So yeah, so I like pre-ordered on Amazon. Oh yeah, pro tip: if you like Amazon Prime, you can get the game for like $12 off.
Oh snap!
Right now.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
So I did that. Yeah. But yeah, so oh man, this has been running for like almost an hour, and we're gonna cut out like a couple minutes here and there, but
oh yeah,
still, this is much longer than we want it to be.
Yeah, it was longer than it was yesterday.
I'm expecting a grocery delivery soon. So,
so yesterday I had somewhere to go. We cut it off in half an hour, and you got somewhere that you got to be. We're cutting it off in an hour. So
yeah. So thank you for listening to Under the Truck. Somehow, once we've done it before, we became less efficient.
You'd think we'd have it down pat, but we had so much more to talk about and not as much of a restrictive time frame.
Yeah.
But
and so we're gonna try and keep future episodes shorter.
Yeah, we don't have like a schedule yet, but
and like we've got like right now we're brainstorming some topics. So if you like this and you have like a kind of topic that you'd like to hear us cover or want to know what our opinion of something in particular is, contact us at, well, we're putting this on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So just like leave a comment in, and also each of us are on Tumblr at like amtrax.tumblr.com or vivvav.tumblr.com. So like if you want to tell one of us directly, hey, you suck, that's how to do it.
Yeah, that's definitely leave a good hard. Max is the most garbagey person of all time, and
just leave a big old sign saying Austin is weeaboo trash.
Yeah, exactly. And don't do drugs, kids. And we hope that you have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.